Hello, I'm Binzer Flynn, and welcome to the Flinncast. Lord Christ, how does the evening find you?
Excellent, excellent. Lord Vinza, we just finished watching a moving picture about mysterious ancient warriors who love guns and axes.
Oh, how about this heat?
I know, right? I hate it.
Oh, a sexy woman has just entered the studio. I'll just see what she wants.
I'll just close my eyes for a second and you can do whatever.
Well, we're not on video. It's all good.
I know that was the joke.
Hi.
Listen to you with your sly giggles.
Well, she's dancing around.
I understand the giggles then.
Oh, she's gone.
Yes, heat is miserable. If Cole's at day camp, did you steal the AC to put in the office for you?
It's not. I get a fan in here, so I just put it on full blast, and if everything's positioned right, it does keep relatively cool in here.
That's good.
It's not bad. Today's just one of those days. Your machines can only do so much. You're just gonna be hot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Merida was totally right. That character in Old Guard, that was fucking Dudley Dursley. I knew there was something familiar about that guy.
We're watching, and Joey's like, I know that guy, but I can't place his face. And then she went 9DB'd it, and yes, it is the guy who played Dudley Dursley. With after losing 150 pounds or whatever.
Yeah. He lost a lot of weight.
Definitely. It was a super good movie, though. And they left it wide open for either a TV show or another movie.
Oh, I can't see how they don't do one or the other, because it's just I think was that the show movie Juice was saying last week that it was left open like it was like a backdoor pilot, or was that something else he was talking about? I can't remember.
Oh, that was it. The only thing I can think of is that Charlize Theron's expensive.
Yeah, but like the way they kind of did her character is like a show would work without her at all, or very rarely in it. Like, the other characters would work on their own.
For sure.
I think so.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. This is all things we could talk about.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Merida is like shouting next to me, I'm coming.
It's alright.
She would like me to inform you that I have misstated what she said. How was your coal-free day, Ben?
Oh, things are almost feeling a little normal lately.
That's good.
Normal is good.
The breaks are helping.
Oh, I would imagine. I can't imagine. Like, I legitimately, as somebody who has, signed up for the parenting at the first stage, I cannot imagine. I didn't even realize how much I missed other people until the office today, when like the people I like were at the office. Not that I don't like the other people, but the people I consider to be my office friends were at the office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I went out I had my sister's car for a couple of days, and for the last week actually, and I went out to do a couple errands here and there, and I I filled up on people real quick, and I was like, yeah, that's enough. I'm going home.
Yeah, the people you don't like, that's like a different, because those people I don't know and trust. So they're like all potential disease vectors. Whereas the people that I know and trust, well, I mean, theoretically could be. I know that they are safe.
The people we know, though, are wearing masks and going the right way down the grocery store aisles with the arrows, Oh yeah, that's my favorite thing, is people standing at the end of an aisle or something and not moving.
And then we do things like hand gestures like, okay, I'm going to need to go out through that door. Everybody's going to have to shuffle to the left.
Nice perk of wearing the mask is nobody can read my lips as I'm going, you dumb motherfucker, which I do a lot.
It's true.
That's fair.
It's true.
It's like I said, that the longer this goes on, people are just sort of shrugging their way into complacency.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm starting to normalize a little bit, like even with the weekend, right? But we still, like, we still have to be still very careful. Like, we still have to, do social distancing. I have plans to have everybody in squads. I'm very excited. I don't know that everybody's going to be keen, but
What, for the weekend?
Yeah, I have plans.
Oh God, I can't wait to hear how that goes.
I have it's just, I think that we have to be like, while there is nobody going that I haven't seen or seen a person who's seen them, you know what I mean? Like, it's the firsthand or secondhand having seen a person.
Mm-hmm.
But still, and we're obviously within our numbers or we wouldn't be doing it and all of that stuff. But yeah, like I still think that we need to be responsible adult people. So
It was a...
Hi.
We're hearing it.
Hello. This is us.
Marvelous. I'm on my balcony.
Oh, nice.
Fancy.
Right, I don't see any old business on my list, but I got a whole bunch of points for the news this week. Merritt, I saw one that would made me think of you right away. It was a Sandman update from Neil Gaiman.
Was it which one? What was which part?
That it's still going forward. It's still be made and all that, but it's going to be set in 2021. So it's extending. I'm not that.
Yeah, Morpheus is going to have been in captivity and asleep a little bit longer than originally. I think it's 75 years in the graphic novel, and it's going to be like 101 or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's actually exciting. They also have not 100% decided upon the gender for Morpheus.
Right. Yeah, I heard. I heard it's all up in the air, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I have to see. They also have the audiobook out right now with James McAvoy voicing Morpheus, which is kind of cool.
There's a voice, yeah.
Yeah, because this was Sandman, the Netflix Sandman got kind of postponed because of COVID-19, as it has postponed our lives. But the graphic novel, the audiobook, went on. Everybody recorded their parts.
Literally phoning it in.
Yeah, and it looks amazing. I have not listened to it yet. I'm saving my free 30-day subscription to Audible so that I can I can get it. But I don't have time to listen to it right now, so I'm saving it to get during that 30 days because I'm actually frantically reading Jim Butcher's latest book right now, so I can't do all the things.
So we're spoiled for choice.
It's true.
Hey man, it's the first time Jim Butcher has put a book out in like 5 years, so praise be to him. So
yes, I am excited about Sandman. The casting for the graphic or the audiobook has been very, very, very good. I'm very hopeful for the Netflix series. Some of the stuff that they were looking at looks cool. I like that Neil Gaiman's always been very good at modernizing his stuff. I mean, if you look at what they did with Good Omens, right? On Amazon, they kicked it up because there's some stuff that was fairly dated on it that wouldn't have made as much sense.
Yeah, Good Omens was great too.
Right? So Sandman's a very, very big project. And they're only doing, gosh, I think they said the first 3, I don't remember, of the graphic novels of the trades. But there's a lot of material and it gets weird, so it should be cool.
So other show production thing I read today was that the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, started casting, and I asked myself, am I even excited about this? Do we want another Game of Thrones show?
I don't know.
No.
I didn't hate the ending as much as a lot of people did. Yeah. There was some stuff that from character development that pissed me off because I really feel like they wasted Daenerys like a great deal. But then there was stuff that I really liked what happened, and some of it,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm glad that the dragon stomped on the Iron Throne and went, "Fuck you all," then.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, then nobody can have it. Fine. And then
Yeah.
like that stuff, like I didn't hate it. It's just I don't think I think they've waited too long anyway
Yeah.
for people to have any emotional investment
Yes.
in new stuff, I just feel like everybody's like kind of over it.
So anyway, I don't know. Sandman, yay. Game of Thrones sequel.
A prequel.
Prequel. And I don't think that makes it better.
I think the hard thing they're going to have, like, so when Game of Thrones first came out, there's a built-in book fandom, right? Which means lots of people would watch the TV show and then they would tell their friends about it, yada, 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 lots of word of mouth. There's no book audience that already exists for this prequel, so no one's hyped about it. And so it just comes off as kind of meh. I'll probably watch the first episode when it comes out, but, like, I have no expectations.
Yeah, like that's my question is that Game of Thrones was so hyped the whole way through until, people didn't like the ending, but like will this one get a similar hype? And I don't see it happening.
Well, as someone who never actually read any of the Game of Thrones books and such, I basically kept up with this show for the most part, mainly because of all the hype and everyone telling me how great a show this was and how close it was to the books, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, if people like that aren't going to support this new prequel that's coming out, then I probably won't give a rat's ass.
The thing is, it suffered from the same thing that a lot of anime do, is that the manga is really popular and they decide to go to anime with it, and then the anime catches up with where the manga is, and then they have to make stuff up after that, and it's just never as good.
Yeah. So I read today, I know we got to get Raptor in here at some point to talk about this, but the Snyder Cut, there's a rumor that it is at least 215 minutes, and it might be longer.
Yeah, I've heard that.
That's 3+ hours. That's almost 4.
Well, Endgame was pretty damn close to that.
That's true.
What did Endgame end up being?
3 hours and something, if I remember correctly. And people sat through that without a problem.
So to put this in perspective, Endgame was 182 minutes. And then what did you say the Snyder Cut was?
At least 215. Rumors it might be longer.
Ooh.
It's
so
too long.
210 would be 3.5 hours. Also, Merida, you sat through the extended versions of Lord of the Rings.
Because I cared.
Checkmate.
That's the difference.
She has this awesome story about going to the movie marathon of, when Return of the King came out, she went to the extended, you watch all 3 at once.
Oh, you sat through this in a theater?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow. I remember doing that.
Not even on a couch or anything? Like, holy shit.
No. We started at 1:00 in the afternoon. We ended at 1 a.m. They gave us 45 minutes for pee breaks and to get more food. And it was the extended cuts of the first 2.
Amazing.
I think I did. I remember that. That was done. That was a Cineplex, their Fan Fest thing, wasn't it? In January?
Trilogy Tuesday is originally what it was called. I have a piece of film from the movie as well in this like cool kind of set thing.
It's like a monolith.
Yeah.
Isn't it one piece from each?
No. Everybody got different pieces of the bills from the film. So they just were at random. It was part of the thing, but yeah.
Well, that's a movie experience when you go to a movie and like, right, that's an hour for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, everyone. See you in a bit.
It was amazing. But I mean, you like everybody went in their pajamas, like you knew you were just like you were in.
Yeah.
It was
settle in.
It was cool. But
You're in
it was
for the long
fun.
haul.
I'm just not sure I could sit in a theater seat for that long. Especially those theater seats, right? Because it wouldn't have been like the plushy new ones that Cineplex has now. It would have been like the old shitty ones that Empire would have had back in 2005?
Yeah, I saw it. It was Bears Lake, though. So.
Jenny and I have been going to Park Lane since the mid '90s now.
Yeah.
I don't remember how uncomfortable the chairs were, but I'm betting fairly.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't know any better back in those days,
That's
right?
what we had, man.
Back in the days, back when I used to go to the movies on Barrington Street. That's how old.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Because I'm not sure if I could do that now, and it's not because the chairs are more comfortable or whatever chairs you sit in. It's the fact that I've seen these movies so many times now that trying to sit through it again, I'd probably nod off.
Yeah, but you have to remember that I wasn't seeing it. So the Trilogy Tuesday, the point is they had not released the final one. This was the first everybody was seeing the final one. And it was the first time that you saw the extended cuts of the first two.
Amazing.
So, yeah, it was. So, I mean, you obviously had reason to. Like, it was a little easier to watch, I admit. Yeah, because there was stuff. I mean, even though everybody that read the books knows, I mean, you know the plot, but there's not a lot of surprises in The Lord of the Rings if you've read the books. But there was just, there's the stuff of, how did they do my favorite thing? What happened to Tom Bombadil? Questions.
I know,
Disappeared
right?
from the universe.
I'm waiting for the Tom Bombadil cut. That's going to be 8.5 hours.
Well, that and the
Who
fact
played him?
also there was a huge battle in like Hobbit land, like right after they destroyed the ring. Where was that?
Yeah. They had to go back and root out Saruman under a different name in disgrace.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I have 2 Lord of the Rings stories. Not stories, but points. So the first one is the one thing I love about the Lord of the Rings movies, all 3 of them, despite I don't really love the 2 towers that much because Gollum is my least favorite character, is that because they use so much practical effects, the movie still looks gorgeous 20 years later.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it still looks great. There's no dated CGI that looks bad now. Like, it all looks really good.
There's some. There's like one in particular that you can really tell. It's at the it's the first battle before they get to the fortress where the warg pack attacks them and tries to cut down their numbers. So the 2 guys that are out and scouting, they get attacked by the warg. And after one's killed off, about to kill the second one, you see Legolas jumping over and taking the arrow to him. You could definitely tell that was CGI'd.
There was a few Legolas CGIs that the eye can always tell.
Yeah.
And then my second part is like the only time I ever got in trouble at middle school was my dad and I had just seen Fellowship, and I had picked out towers at the library of my middle school, and I totally got so engrossed reading it over lunch that I totally missed the bell and was like 45 minutes late for my first class after lunch. The librarian found me like in the stacks, nose in Twin Towers, and she's like, "Matt, the lunch ended like an hour ago," and I'm like, "Oh, whoops, shit."
I think
Her
my
little
favorite.
librarian heart, she was so excited.
Mhm.
She was like,
Yeah, she was also my best friend's mom, so she wrote me a note anyways.
oh, good.
I think the funniest part of that story is that's the most trouble you got into in middle school.
That's true. I mean, there was one not really fight, but I didn't get in trouble for that. So,
I got in trouble 4 times a fucking day.
see, when you're the good kid and you beg, I didn't have anything to do with this, people tend to believe you.
Well, I mean, you got in trouble for reading. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Inappropriate reading.
Excessive reading. Get
Penalty.
to class, dummy.
Penalty.
I read a lot, okay?
That's good. So I want to get to a couple trailers in a second here, but 2 quick points. One Star Wars, one Star Trek. I can't back up either of these because I didn't bother researching them. I just saw it. And first one is Lower Decks could be aimed at kids as young as 4. Please tell me that's a rumor and that's false.
No, I can't
that should be a
see.
rumor.
Gotta
I
be a
can't
rumor.
see that. Like it.
I don't think it'd be young as 4, but I definitely don't think they're going for anything overly cerebral. Like, people have called this like Rick and Morty for Star Trek.
Yeah, that's what I'm doubtful of. Is going to be as raunchy as Rick and Morty.
W says that it's aimed at adults. The show is far more
Yeah.
PG-13 than R.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing about trailers, though, and this is why I'm very hesitant to like decide what it is that, you know, so often they'll make a trailer. Well, I mean, you've seen it too, right? You know, you've seen, you know, Star Trek: The Next Generation, you know, with a trailer as like a horror movie, or it really, depending on how it's edited together, they can make it seem like anything, you know. So I'm sure there is a cut of a trailer for Lower Decks that's very Star Trek, you know what I mean? Like that could just be like them exploring things and getting in trouble, and instead of like the slapsticky stuff. Like
I'm just hoping to avoid any repeat of like Star Wars Resistance, which was so stupid and aimed at kids. You know what I mean?
I see. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just realized this, and I was thinking about this, and I had to look it up, but the cartoon style and the humor and such like that, it reminds me a lot of the cartoon's Final Space, if anyone saw it.
Saw it, didn't like it, couldn't stick with it.
I stuck through both seasons. It was fucking amazing, but that's just me. This reminds me a lot. This reminded me a lot of it now, but based in the Star Trek universe. And I think it's going to be good, but that's just me.
I think so too, honestly.
I think so too. I'm really interested to see if it is as heavy in comedy as they're making it out to be.
So the other quick tidbit was Star Wars, and I saw about the Kenobi series. Hayden Christensen has signed on to be a part of it. I haven't
Really?
Flashbacks, I would imagine.
Well, it would have to be, yeah, but like that's pretty significant Star Wars news if he's going to be on
It is.
the Kenobi
Yeah,
show.
because he hasn't done anything Star Wars. I mean, I guess neither has Ewan, but like,
wasn't Christensen not a huge fan nowadays of the stuff he did back then?
I don't
Or
know.
was it the fans that weren't a huge fan of him, of the stuff he did back then?
The fans aren't a fan of anything, fucking assholes. But I've seen several things in the recent years of him doing cool shit with and for Star Wars fans. So like he seems like a pretty good guy. Cool. But I hope this rumor's true. I would really like to see him even, you know, in just flashbacks with Ewan McGregor. Like that would be live action Clone Wars type stuff. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Star Wars rumor suggests Anakin's coming back, supposedly. But yeah, it would have to be a flashback or something along those lines. Otherwise it just wouldn't make sense.
Okay, so I finally got around to, it's been out for a while, I finally got around to watching the trailer for The Boys Season 2, and I wish I'd watched it sooner because it looks fucking amazing.
Nice.
Watched it yet?
Lots
I haven't watched it yet either.
Oh, note to self, watch that later.
Yeah.
It's
lots of splatter.
It's set to a really cool remix of "We Didn't Start the Fire," and it's like goes to the beat. Like there's a quick scene change with sort of every beat of the music, and there's something fucking crazy going on in every bit of it.
Awesome.
It's so good.
When does it come out? Later this year, isn't it?
August?
I think August. Yeah, soon. A lot of good stuff coming soon, and it's featured at least quickly. The Black Noir character who was not used at all in season 1. He's got the stupidest fucking name. He's got the stupidest fucking name in the whole show, Black Noir.
Hello, I'm Black.
Yeah.
But on one of the previews, holy shit, that guy is. Ooh, I would not want to be him in a dark room.
Also, September 4th, according to Google.
Yes. Yeah, he's kind of impressive.
And I usually like the Snake Eyes Commando type guys, but there's something about this guy who's just putting me off. So anyway, I think we're gonna
unhinged.
We're gonna see something of him in season 2 anyway. The other trailer that I just saw today, Project Power. Have you guys heard of this one?
No.
Yes.
It's a Netflix movie, another Netflix original. It's like a cop drama with Jamie Foxx and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. So it's got some heavy hitters for acting. But the premise is that there's a drug going around and it gives you 5 minutes of superpowers, and you don't know what you're gonna get until you take the drug. And so it sort of looks like it's done a little bit in the vein of the Will Smith Bright movie, you know, like a cop drama, but with a real cool twist. And that's coming out, I think, soon as well. But the trailer really got me. It looks really cool.
August 14th.
Right.
Cool.
I mean, those are not insignificant acting chops in that.
Yeah, for sure.
And the trailer, the effects looked really cool. And my question is like, okay, you take the pill. Does that bring out your latent superpower? Do you get that every time you take the drug, or do you get a different drug every time?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
And are there any whammies? Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah. Good question.
Well, are there whammies, and are there and then you become gradually addicted and then bad things happen? I think probably is where.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens if you take like two or more pills at the same time? Does it give you multiple powers? Does it extend your power for like a certain amount of time because there's more drug in you? Does it amplify the random power you already got? I mean, so many questions.
You know what that sounds like to me, Jenny? That sounds like D&D potion mixing.
That's exactly what I was thinking about. Yes.
And that could be, I mean, you can explode. That's like one of the things. I mean, we in our D&D 20 years, we've done some crazy shit. But anytime someone's like mixing potions, we're like, oh.
Yo, yeah. And it's only happened a couple of times.
Yeah. So some airstream in the middle of the desert, they're mixing this stuff up. Someone mixes a little too much of something else and explodes. But rather than an explosion, they just walk out with either they're on fire or stretchy arms, or they've hulked out for 5 minutes, or some weird ass superpower instead.
It's like a meth lab exploded, but luckily my power is fire based, so it's all good. So, keeping with the superhero theme, I finally again was out for a bit, got around to watching the season 2 Umbrella Academy trailer.
Oh, I'm very hopeful.
And I didn't know anything about it up until today, and the whole skipping through time thing, and they're back in the 60s. And it just seems a natural progression that Klaus becomes a cult leader. They showed very quick scenes, but it looks like Luther he's shirtless, embracing his bestial side. And he's like at some sort of underground fight club kind of thing. Looked like Diego was in a mental institution.
Seems about right.
And then 5 was trying to figure all this shit out.
Of course, as usual. He's the old man, right? And it looked like Allison was like in a courtroom or something, and this to me is it's like, okay, this is kind of serious stuff, because it's like 60s, a big civil rights movement, and it's just, if that's what she's involved with somehow back in this time frame, it's just another drop parallel for like shit going on in present day, right?
Well, she's got such an interesting power that she could have during that too.
Yeah.
I know they make fun of it at the end of the video, but at the end of the trailer, but yeah, like if you're involved in the civil rights movement and you can make people do what you rumor them to do, that'd be quite interesting, actually.
Yeah. And we see a younger version of their father, which adds a whole interesting layer to his starting the academy in the first place. I'm pretty sure I saw a young little version of Pogo.
I did. Well, he's walking, holding hands with a chimpanzee like towards the end of it. So whether that's a chimpanzee or
All right, moving on to the watch list of the week. We're gonna get to Old Guard in a few minutes here, but has anyone been keeping up with any more Doom Patrol?
No, I have too much stuff.
I told you.
There's like way too much television right now to try and catch up. I mean, shit, I haven't even watched Titans yet.
A lot of people didn't like it, but I liked how gritty it was.
Let's be real. There's honestly too much coming out. And I mean, I admittedly took all of the COVID slowdown to watch old Star Trek, so I'm guilty.
I am very proud of you.
Juice and I said just today that weekly podcasts are going to, if we have a goal for the next week, it gives us the impetus to watch something.
It's true.
I did like you putting the list out a day or two ahead of time of stuff you wanted to talk about so that we could brush up on whatever it was if we hadn't already.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to keep on that. I'm gonna kind of when we start doing the rewind retro reviews, it's gonna be like an assignment at the end of the podcast. So if anyone's actually listening, they can do it too. And I don't want to alarm anybody, but we got up to 8 downloads this week.
Sweet.
I assume you guys were like 6 of them.
I was not even one of them.
I didn't either.
I did listen on Podbean. I will admit.
Wait, so I always listen on Patreon, so does that count as a hit or not?
Oh, probably not. This is probably just the direct downloads. I haven't checked the logistics in the Podbean doc or what do you call it, the dashboard, to see who's actually listening on it or something. I need to look into that.
Because let's face it, we really don't care.
Nah, we're broadcasting to ourselves when we're old.
True that.
The other show I just finished watching, and Joni, you mentioned, have you seen the show Dark on Netflix?
Yes, I've watched the first 2 seasons.
Okay, well, I won't spoil anything about season 3. It's just, has anybody else watched Dark at all?
Is that the French one, Joni?
German.
No, German.
I have not, but I have read of it, but probably not enough to intelligibly talk about it.
Well, I won't, like I say, I won't spoil anything, but it's a German show. It's very stylistic. It's really well done. It's subtitled, but the English voiceovers I find are good enough to get you by. It's a show about time travel and stuff like that, and an impending apocalypse. But the thing is, the time travel is done in a very new, sort of original way I've never seen before. And the time travel is not sort of a star of the show. It's just sort of something that's in it. But it does all this cool stuff. Like, there's multiple times, so there's multiple characters playing the same person. And it starts, of course, with these things. It gets more complicated and complex the more it goes on. But I don't find it hard to follow. And it kept me interested. And the thing is, there's a bit of a gap between season 2 and 3 for me, so I kind of had to get back into it. But if you were to watch all 3 in a row, it would just be this really long, cool, complex story. But like, it does, like, some things, like, if say you went back in time 30, 40 years, and then you just never got back, but you're in the same timeline, so you have to make a life for yourself. And what happens when you overlap with yourself in time, when you kind of catch up, like, it does cool shit like that.
Other thing that runs through it when you start watching it, kind of, is that it's also child abduction, murder thing, sort of, maybe, kind of going through.
There's a lot going on in it. Really.
Like, kind of, sort of, because I started watching it thinking it was kind of one thing, because I started watching it, like 7 or 8 months ago. Enough that I'm gonna have to actually look stuff up. I think I remember how season 2 ends.
All I can say is, you say there's 10 things going on. When season 3 sets in, there's about 20 more things going on. Wow. So it gets crazy.
I couldn't actually watch it with the dub. I had to put the subtitles on because I found German and English so different that it was really confusing me with their mouths.
Yeah.
So I had to which is good. There's a couple of French ones that I watched too. One called Black Spot, which is really good, but it's French. I'm a little better with French because I can actually.
It's really good, but it's French.
It's French, so it's kind of the similar thing. It's how it's a bit stylized.
Yeah.
Kind of along that line, but the thing with Dark was, I had to pay very close attention. I have to be able to commit to that because I am a terrible multitasker, and I usually am on my phone when I'm listening mostly to a TV show. Right. And when I'm watching something with subtitles, I have to be able to obviously, because if you look away, you're screwed because you're like, shit, that was German, and I don't speak German. What did they just say? Although I also found I was picking up German towards the end, so it was an added bonus.
Yeah, a little bit. All right, let's talk about the old guard.
In AD 72, a crack commando unit was sentenced to death by a clergy-led mob for a crime they didn't commit. These people promptly returned from the eternal darkness of death to the European underground. Today, still wanted by world governments and capitalist syndicates, they serve or survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the old guard.
Hey, that's the second week in a row you've done one of those.
God.
So
I
you're
just
gonna
found
have
it on Reddit like a couple minutes ago, and I'm like, I have
What
to
is-
save this because
what
it's
is
my
this, like
thing now.
r/a team adaptions? I'm gonna be expecting one next week now.
There'll be a quiz. There's like
That was
Prepare it.
amazing. I love that.
it's
You will
good.
now have to make one for Warrior Nun.
Oh yeah, keep an eye out for that.
You could do it. It could happen.
Just to plug in the formula, right? That's very fitting for Old Guard though. It really
Pretty
works.
much.
It will, especially in the very beginning when you don't. That was kind of my thing. I said to Chris when we're watching it, I kind of wish I didn't know that they were immortal at the start.
Yeah, you know
Oh,
what?
what?
When I posted about it last night, I actually checked the Netflix description first to see if it
Oh,
was
it's right
something
in
that
it. Yeah.
they say it up front. And I was like, okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a spoiler. But yeah, like if they just started off with this cool A-Team style mission and then they got back up, that would have been a way better kick.
It is based on a comic, I've come to learn. I did not know that going into it, but this is an entire comic series.
I had no idea.
I think I agree with Merida. You know, that opening scene where they're laying on the ground bleeding out, and then it does the flashback thing, and then they finally catch back up. If I hadn't have known that they were immortal, that would have had a lot more kick when they start to get back up. But I think where it's based on a previous property, they threw it in the description because it already existed. Like, it wasn't new.
That's fair, I guess. Like, yeah, anybody that read the comics would know, I suppose. If that was not a setup for a series, I don't know what was. But
Right?
I mean, it's a comic series, so they could make sequel movies for the rest of the comics.
It's begging for
Yeah.
more.
Of course it was. It was so blatantly begging for at least another movie, if not a series.
I would love a series. Charlize Theron's the big actor in it, but the way her character is, progressing, this would be a show that could work without that character if it had to.
I
Well,
almost figured she
considering
was going to die, and then they wouldn't have had to worry about it.
yeah, same here. But the fact she actually made it through that last final bit of break-inery.
I didn't think she would either.
I was impressed. No, I didn't think so either. But she did, which kind of makes me wonder, is she just going to keep on going with them, just being cognizant of the fact that if she gets shot again, that's it? Or is she just going to be one of those Oracle type people that sits behind the scenes and actually directs the guys that actually can take the bullets? Because there are now technically four of them again, and with the help of the historian / CIA operative.
Oh yeah, who's played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, and he's fucking great in everything. I love him.
Mondo.
He's awesome.
Mordo.
He's in Mordo, Doctor Strange. Yeah.
And he was the guy who played the bounty hunter in Serenity.
He was the operative, yes.
That's
Oh
right, too.
yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's right too.
Or yeah, sorry,
That's
not the
right.
bounty hunter, but the
Yeah.
dude.
Raina and I were mentioning that earlier, and it was one of the many reasons we wish the Firefly series had continued, because Shepherd Book was he obviously used to be that guy.
Yes.
I had a whole theory that they were clones or something, right? Like Shepherd Book was not his name; he picked that name.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ejiofor, he's great. I love him.
And I really like the fact that one of the things I liked about this movie is the fact that most of the characters aren't really black and white. Most of them are like pretty much shades of gray, going back between the light and the dark.
Yeah.
I mean, you got what was the CIA guy's character's name again?
Copley.
So you got Copley,
Copley.
who is originally bad, supposedly, but was trying to do it for good intentions, sees the error of his ways, and ends up becoming their fixer. And then you have one of the immortals who basically sells out the other team for supposed altruistic purposes due to something that happened in his past, but realizes in the end that no, that's not going to work out the way he does, and eventually helps the team escape. But no, there's a lot of going back and forth on
See, I don't
royalties.
I don't think that Booker did what he did because of his kid dying. Like, I'm assuming that's what you mean. He did it because he said he wanted to die. Like, he wanted to actually find out how they could die.
I think specifically he wanted to do it for her because throughout the whole movie, you get the sense she's lived a very, very long time and is basically tired of it. So
Well, she
maybe
says she's tired.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe it was a weird, I love you, so I'm going to figure out how to kill you type of thing.
I think he actually wanted to die himself too, because when he set her up, like when he sent her in without weapons, right? Like he sent her with an empty gun. He didn't know that she was already able to be killed, right? So once he found out she could be killed and lost her immortality, then suddenly he didn't want to play that game anymore. So I don't know.
I was kicking myself for not smelling Booker's betrayal earlier.
It
was all right there. Well, they did
Also,
They did though. They did.
They left him there when he got left there with his guts hanging out, and they didn't take him too.
Now, in my head, I thought, okay, maybe the team was just said they don't know what these guys are. They're just saying, all right, they're dangerous. Bring them in alive no matter what. And then Booker gets fragged, so they're like, oh, he's dead. Just leave him. So that was my rationale at the time. But looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, it was totally obvious.
The one thing that people are, not the one thing, but one of the things that people are pointing out online is that you would think Charlize Theron's character would have been able to recognize the fact that that gun wasn't loaded by the weight.
Yeah, really.
I think that, she should have probably picked it up, but she was also in a great deal of pain and tired.
Distracted.
And, probably she should have, especially when we see her being able to describe the ingredients of baklava in the beginning.
I haven't had time to look it up, but she describes herself as the Scythian. Do we know what time period that would even be from? Like, I don't know what that term is. I've never heard it before.
She's like 6,000 years old or something.
She's from Scythia. So Scythia was part of Greece. Would have been in Greece. Anyway, it's like, I don't know, 7th century, 8th century, like before Christ.
I'm
really
only
old.
1500 from ancient Britain, Joni. I'm
like really, really old.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia on Scythia, whatever, basically, like, I'm just trying to look at, like,
she predates Jesus.
Pakistan and stuff would be right now. So, like, picture, like, between India and Saudi Arabia and kind of there-ish. Basically the bottom of Russia. And they existed 11th century BC to 2nd century.
She predates Christ.
India and Saudi Arabia? Try Iran and Iran and India.
Yeah, I'm going to post a picture here in a second because, yeah, I agree.
I read that, and it looked pretty obvious during the course of the movie. Charlize Theron, she did all her own stunts.
I love her.
She is going the way of Liam Neeson, not becoming an action star until they're in their 40s.
Okay, so I see there, yeah, that's like getting up into Russia, the Uralic tribes. So that would explain, because I was like, if she's from, ancient Pakistan, like she's pretty white to be from that area.
Yeah, no, sure. That's definitely the Baltics, Iran, parts of Pakistan, and stuff. So yeah.
Central Eurasia is how it's identified, occupied by Eastern Iranian Scythians.
That sounds about right.
But seriously, Charlize Theron is killing the action heroine roles. So, like, she was in Atomic Blonde. She was in this. She was in
Mad
Fury
Max.
Road. Yes, like she's killing it.
She's a badass.
She is.
So I also very much enjoyed the two guys from the opposite ends of the Crusades, Nicola and Joe. They were pretty great.
It was wonderful, and I love the fact
Or Nicolo.
that there was very, very little romance or sex or anything in this movie except for their story. And that was it. There wasn't like, we didn't give Charlize Theron a love interest. We didn't. I thought for a second they're gonna get her to hook up with the girl at the store who bandaged her shoulder. I was like, no, come on. It just was an action. It was all about the action, about them discovering, the guilt and all of the stuff that goes with it. And I mean, and you had to see the ending, but anyway.
When Joe and Nikki are caught, when they're in the armored van and he's describing what Nikki means to him, to that guy, like that was quite a
was wonderful.
Nice delivery.
And that whole thing didn't feel forced.
No, that guy was great.
That's what I mean. That was the only love story in this. They didn't make it like a secondary love story. They didn't make people kiss in the background of the scene. So this to not, scare the straight people. Like, they front and center. That was the only romance that runs through the whole story.
I did enjoy the reaction of all the fucking frat boy special force guys when they started kissing. Like, none of that.
So that whole scene is shot for shot, word for word from the comic.
Well, it was very good, very good.
It was very well delivered as well.
Yes,
it was very believably delivered.
Yeah, I found the guy playing Joe was and Nikki for that matter. They came across as really genuine, really good. Did anyone formulate any theories about the nature of the immortality? Because I formed one.
Well, I thought they may have been going for a Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse thing, but then the Mongolian lady shows up at the end, and clearly then that's not the case.
Yeah, as I was trying to come up with like a numbers thing, but it didn't work out. But because they dream about each other, they're obviously connected through some sort of energy. And my theory is that there can only be so many immortals at one time, and that number is very slowly increasing over the centuries. But there's still only so much of that interconnected energy to go around. So that's why guys like that Lycon character and Andy, they're on the tail end of that power, while new ones like Nile pop up, so that their energy is becoming thinner as it goes. I don't know. That's my first theory.
I don't know. I wonder, like, if they can it's a cumulative lifespan. Like, maybe people only get a certain chunk of it, and it all kind of totals together. It sounds weird, but in my head, it made way more sense. Like, so Andy was older than Lycan, right?
I got the impression Lycan was older, but I don't really. That was just a feeling I got.
I know, and that's what I thought it should be. But I feel like they said somewhere that she found him.
I think she did. I think Andy's the oldest.
So
or was the oldest.
Then I don't understand why he died first. Yeah, like that's my thing. I don't understand.
It could be how many times you died too, right? So she could be such a prolific warrior that she just actually hasn't died that many times.
Could be, yeah.
True. Maybe it's like a cat thing, only a lot more lives.
Unrelated, the wiki for this particular universe says that she was born in approximately 4700 BC.
Wow.
They're not going to do that then with her character, because that would actually make her. Yeah,
that's pretty close to 7,000 years old. That's kind of impressive.
I love the choreography and all the fight scenes and watching the team work together, especially when they broke out of the lab. Like, the fight scenes were fucking crazy good.
I liked it when they all get up off the floor.
That was good. In my mind, it's like this would be what it would be like if there were a bunch more of Wolverine. It was like John Wick meets Wolverine.
I also really like how they all carried melee weapons. Like, they all had swords and axes. Period specific to when they would have used them, probably.
Yeah.
I think that, again, it always comes down to the fact that sometimes you want the quiet weapon of the stabbiness too.
Yeah. There was some great sword work and blade work in general. It was so cool to watch. I was thinking that all like the bad guys, the henchmen, like they were good. They could fight and they put up a challenge, but I was like, these guys are level 10 and these guys are level 200.
Yeah. And then Dudley Dursley, man.
I was looking at that guy's face. I'm like, there's something weird about him. I feel like I've seen him, and then you said in chat, and I was like, holy shit.
Like that Dudley Dursley, yo. Like I couldn't place him. Like I knew his eyes, like his face, and I couldn't place him. And I was thinking Harry Potter, but I couldn't place who he was in Harry Potter. So then I was like, well, maybe it was just he was a bit actor and just a part, and I just remember his face. So then I had to IMDb it, and I'm like, man, it's Dudley Dursley.
That's so weird.
He's lost a lot of Dursley weight.
He would have been a kid, right, when he was playing.
Yeah,
that
he just grew up. That's all.
Yeah.
I was afraid he was going to get up.
Yeah, totally.
And
the ongoing fear in that show.
Yeah, I'm also an immortal. Great.
So I thought the Booker's punishment at the end was kind of interesting, as the 100-year exile.
I feel like that was actually pretty easy.
Yeah, that was really tame.
Yeah,
I
like
was
it was
thinking they were
appropriate.
I was thinking they were gonna like lock him up in a metal cage and bury him for a couple 100 years, and then
They after what happened to Quinn, was her name? They would never do something like that. So all the best punishment they could do is just to get away from us.
Well, especially since his thing was he had nobody. And he was lonely, right? So they just made him the only other people he had took that away. I feel the punishment was appropriate. I just feel like 100 years for them maybe isn't enough, but they also may need him. So,
but consider the fact that most of them, I think the next two oldest were like Crusades. So you're talking like 1300s. So that's 1320. That's about 700-800 years old. So 100 years attacked at that. That's about an eighth of their lifetime, if my math is right. So that's still pretty significant.
Yeah,
I don't know. He's from Booker was what he said 18. He died in the War of 1812. Is that what he said?
Napoleonic Wars, yeah. So
he did die in 1812, but yeah, with France v Russia.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, 1812, 1912, 2012.
He's a baby. He's only 208 years old.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so therefore, 100 years. So that
for him is more.
For him, it's pretty nasty.
Well,
although, if this becomes a series, I doubt that's going to last very long.
Nah, we'll write him back in somehow.
Well, that or he's going to go with Quinn.
Yeah, I didn't expect her to show up, and of course, my question is,
I did.
How long was she actually underwater? How quickly did she actually get out?
Yeah, because people online have posted out that wouldn't that Iron Maiden just have rusted sitting at the bottom of the ocean?
That's what I thought.
She didn't look like somebody who has been locked away for 500 years and just popped in and was crazy. She looked like somebody who had been out for a while and has been plotting.
I feel like she's been living for several hundred years somewhere in a big castle in the south of France plotting, you know?
Yeah.
Unrelated.
Supervillain.
Drowning over and over and over again for any length of time would be fucking terrifying.
Oh man, yeah, she would have been, like they said, you would have gone insane.
I think she got out quick. She probably got out quickly because if you got to remember, these guys like share the death experience with each other when they die. So if she was dying over and over and over again, that would have driven Theron, that would have driven Andy insane.
Yeah,
unless she just numbed herself to the pain of it going off in her dreams so much, which would actually explain some of her character's personality.
They're definitely connected, some sort of communal way.
Unrelated. So Steve Merrick, the bad guy, Dudley Dursley, apparently in the comic he's not a pharma bro. He's a jack tattooed maniac.
So they changed a couple things.
Just a few.
I loved it. I didn't know it was a comic until we started talking about it, and I didn't know about this movie or show or whatever until a couple days ago, but I loved it. Totally loved it.
Oh, and it's relatively recent too. Like the next issue comes out came out 6 days ago, according to the wiki.
Oh shit! Cool. So next week's homework assignment is definitely Warrior Nun.
Yeah. I really like I get what Cryos and Juice are saying, that the first couple are slower because they are very much character development. And if you're, wanting it to be ass kicking immediately, it is not that.
Right.
But I think I actually really, we've still got 5 left to go, but I really like the direction it's going. And for me, it's doing enough tribute to the graphic novels, to the comics, that I feel good about it. So.
And not a homework assignment, but anyone has been waffling on catching up on Doom Patrol, just do it. You will not be sorry.
All right.
It's hilariously good. So before we quit tonight, I got a new fun little thing. It's the what if of the week. And it's an age-old question. We've all heard it before, but I figured it's the best one to start off with. What would you do if you had a holodeck for real?
Oh man,
We play D&D very differently.
yeah.
That's my answer, Christ. I'd be like D&D all the fucking time.
Oh yeah.
So much live porn.
I guess someone had to say it.
Ew.
Yes, I said it. Now that we've got it out of our system, yes. So
system.
much live D&D. That would be amazing.
Or just live video games.
See, I would totally I would be Picard. I would totally be skipping through history, trying out all the things and meeting the famous people. That I would be being like Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I want to fly the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yeah, ironically use the holodeck just to run a starship. Which is holodeck's part of the starship, but I want to run the...
If there was enough accurate records, I would love to relive certain events in history just to see what it was actually like.
Oh yeah.
Tourism would become interesting too, right? You want to go on an African safari? Go for it.
Right.
Gives the meaning of staycation. Oh, sorry, gives the word staycation an entirely new meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Prototyping, engineering things would also be kind of neat.
Oh yeah. Man,
well, it would be cool because you could test. Yeah, there wouldn't be any oops, that thing exploded because I didn't know that it was going to work or not work. It would be we know exactly that it works. So
well, the holodeck has already been used for this, in the series. So there you go.
Yeah.
I mean, Reg creates a supercomputer in it on one episode of TNG, right?
Yeah.
And Geordi recreates the engineering lab at the actual Enterprise construction site.
Utopia Planitia. And then creeps on the woman who is working there.
Yeah, I like how in the actual Next Generation series, the holodeck was used for less than, very nice purposes. It was used in some creepy ways.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my god, that reminds. It actually reminds me of the Orville episode where. Wow, it's been a long time since I've watched it. This is
Orville
horrible.
is such a fucking good show.
Yes, but one of the crew members actually is using the holodeck for recreational sex because he's having problems with his partner.
Oh yeah, that was oh, what the fuck's his name?
And yeah, I know you know what I'm talking about.
The big guy.
And the program corrupts the whole ship. So that's a lesson to you guys and gals. Do not pull down illicit porn because it will give you viruses.
I can't even tell you. I can't even tell you the crush I had on Ilara, the first tactical officer or security officer they had. I can't even tell you.
I think you just did.
Yes.
I did.
I mean, we know from Deep Space Nine that there are pleasure programs that Quark peddles.
Oh yeah.
Bortus, that's his name.
Bortus, yes.
Bortus, yes. And Clyden.
I wanted to say Borax, and I'm like, that's not Borax.
Borden and his husband?
Clyden.
Clyden, yes. And yes, you're right. In DS9, Quark's holosuites were very much known for being fairly illicit.
Yeah, and didn't they do that with Tuvok, was it Ponfar that?
Yes, you
and
read my mind.
Yep.
Yeah, and they on Voyager, and they had him recreate his wife.
He had to rub one out one way or the other.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that I learned about the Orville the other day, having not watched yet, is that I did not know that Seth MacFarlane went to CBS first to pitch it as a new Star Trek before doing it himself.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Seth is like a humongous Star Trek fan. I mean, he made his own fan film when he was a teenager.
He's done an amazing job. Orville is a fantastic Star Trek style show. I like how sometimes it's serious, but sometimes it's funny in a way that's realistic. Like when they blow up a ship and the guy jumps up, like, boom, that's what I'm talking about. Like that's what you would want to do in real life, right? Like, or when Elara got command for the day and she goes and gets a shot of booze from the replicator. And she's like, you all right? You gonna throw up? You gonna throw up? You're fine. You're fine. Like, that's believable shit.
Yeah, I have issues with tequila. That kind of tequila would probably screw me straight up.
We know you already ruined one Star Trek convention.
Yes. Well, no, I just made it fun for a whole lot of other people.
He gave them all the good stories. That guy was hammered.
Exactly.